So you can just visualize this diagram and memorize this diagram. This is for future help. So object is the super parent class in Java, means every class has a parent. So object is the super parent, and throwable is something like about exception. So when you talk about exception, so throwable is the root class for the exception, and throwable has mainly two childs. It has more childs, you have already seen. Mainly two childs we will talk about, like one is error and one is exception. So error, like most of the errors are unhandled, means if any error is coming during runtime, so normally it says that you cannot handle it and the program will be terminated. But if exception is there, so you can handle the exception and you will try to handle the exception and your program will be normal executed and it will be completed. So this is basic, like high level things about exception and errors. So just focus on some examples. One is stack overflow error, out of memory error. So these are like basic examples of error, and these are exceptions example. SQL exception. SQL exception is compile time exception. Compile time means once you type something like that, the compiler will detect and it will ask you that you to handle it before execute. IO exception is compile time exception. Array, this is unchecked. You see here it is written unchecked. It's array out of bounds exception. It is unchecked exceptions. One is like arithmetic exceptions, null pointer exception, class cast exception. So these exceptions are unchecked. It means it will be detected during runtime. And some of the reasons they have given. Errors are object types, exception are object types, impossible to recover from errors. Recovery and handle is possible. Application prefers to crash rather than handling. It's not 100% correct, but yeah, in most of the cases it is correct. Exceptions can be handled programmatically. Corrective actions can be taken. So you can handle the exception. It means even your program is throwing some kind of error, you can handle it and you can try to execute next line of codes. If at any point of time exception is coming, so you can handle and you can start executing from further point. So checked and unchecked. Exceptions are of two types, checked and unchecked. So checked is like compiler will detect it, and unchecked compiler will not detect, it will show during runtime. So that's why it is saying runtime and compile time. So compile time is checked and runtime is during runtime. Caused by application, and errors cannot be detected by compiler. This is unchecked type and it will only occur during runtime. Caused by the environment of the application it is running, and caused by the application or any logic you have written, that can be incorrect. So these are basic differences, not very much important regarding interview, but just you have to tell that there are two type of things, the child of throwable. One is exception and one is error, and then you can jump on the exceptions, checked and unchecked. So these things you can define, then they will agree on your answers and they will accept your answers. So that's okay. So next part, checked and unchecked exceptions. We will talk about this, and we have also shown some of the examples what are checked and what are unchecked exceptions. So if you see here, in this program there is no checked exceptions. So if I try to write this line of code, that is select, and I'm trying to write 1000. You can see here, just mouse over, add throws declaration. So this is called a checked exception because a compiler detected it and asked you that write the code for that. So this is called checked exceptions. And for checked exception, there is a keyword called throws, which is coming to the picture, and it will ask your compiler that this can throw some exception. So just try to declare it here. It's a mandatory rule for Java, so we are declaring it here. Now going to this part, checked and unchecked exceptions. All exceptions other than runtime. So if you go to the structure of this, you can see here all exceptions other than runtime. So if something it is the child of runtime, that is called unchecked exceptions, and all the other exceptions all are called checked exceptions. Okay, that can be detected during compile time. So you remember, like we have a scanner class kind of examples where it was detected during compile time. If you do some file handling, then also it will be detected during compile time. I will try to show those examples, so should be okay. Unchecked exceptions occur at the time of the program of execution. That is the mandatory rule. I can show you one example so that you will understand. See, this is a class and I am trying to create the object of the class. I try to write it like that, and I have a variable, say that int equal to 100 I have given here. Consider that this is the object and I want to access this variable. So it's allowed in Java. First you have to create the object, and then you can, with the object reference what you have created, you can add that reference here and just put a dot, and you will see the things present whatever it is. So you can see that test description variable is coming. So if I run this program, so I am expecting that this should be allowed to access without any error. You see here it is printing without any. Now see what I am trying to do. What I am setting here, null, means it is asking me to create the object. So I've set the null. Null means no object. Okay, just setting that null. It means no object. So if we have an object which is pointing to null, means there is no object, so it will not have this variable. If you try to access, it will throw you null pointer exception. You can see here what it is called, null pointer exception. So that is very important. Means if some object is pointed to the valid object, then should be okay, you are allowed to access. But if it is pointing to null or not pointing to anything, then it will be called null pointer exception. So sometimes you will see null pointer exception. So reason behind it that the object which you are trying to access, it has been not be initialized. So initialization is like compulsory, and once you initialize, then only you can access. So this is one example. Unchecked exceptions occurs at the time of program execution. You see here there is no compilation error, nothing like that. But when I trying to run, I am getting some kind of exception. So starting was okay, but during this line number 17 it occurred, and after that nothing executed, it just terminated. So I have couple of examples which I will show you one by one. So all about exceptions. So this is example of what? Null pointer exception. This is also one example. You see here what I did here, line number 7. I just declare the object, means not initialize, just declare obj2 type. And we have obj where this is the main method where I have the main program. I'm trying to create one object, so this is okay, there is no problem. I am trying to access obj because it is pointing to one object, so whatever it is just okay. Obj public A, where is public A? It is somewhere here. Okay, so actually we have a class called public class A, so we have already seen this. Let me open this part, and this should be like this, then you will understand in a better mode. You can see here there is a class we have created. We have 4 type of variables and 5th type of variable also public. So this is private, this is default, this is protected, this is public, and this is also public. So we have one constructor over there, that's okay. We have one test method over there, we have private method over there, we have default method there, we have public method there, and we have protected method there, and where we have main things as well. So no need of main things. Let me comment it out. Let me comment it out. Right now, coming here, what I'm trying to do in the main method, I'm creating one object of class A. So when I will try to access public A, so public A is what? It's a variable, so should be allowed because it's a public variable, so there is no problem, it should be allowed. But you see here, I have one object to here created and I have put it static. Why static I have kept? Because I wanted to use in main method. So main method is something static method. So if you define something here as static, then you can directly call it here in the main method. So that's why I have put it here, calling here obj2.public in line number 18. But I am putting here a try kind of thing. So try thing you will see later. As of now, just ignore it. And you see here, this way I'm trying to handle it try catch. So some exception will occur, that is null pointer exception, and if exception will occur here, so the risk code is put under the try one. Okay, and the catch is for handling the exception. So basically try will detect the exception, and based on that it will communicate with the catch one, and catch will handle the exception. So once you handle the exception, after that your program will execute further. If you don't handle the exception, your program will be terminated when the exception will occur here. So catch is a way to handle the exception, try is a way to just detect the exception has occurred or not. If exception has occurred, it will communicate with catch one. If exception will not occur, so it will not communicate with the catch, it will just try to execute the normal execution. So see here, this object is not pointing to any object, this reference not pointing to any object, but when I'm trying to access obj2.public A, it means this variable, so I'm getting null pointer exception. So let me show you. You can see here it is coming here, and it is exception is detected, and once exception is detected, it is communicating with the catch, and here I am printing exception has occurred. Okay, so if this is not happening, so this will not be called, because this is something wrong I am doing. If I am calling this one, you see here it's normal execution. You can say 0 and 0, it is printing and there is no exception occur. But if I communicate this one, this is null because I not initialized, so it is initialized to null. So when I am trying to access obj2.public A, then it will show you null pointer exception, and then you can use it like that. You can see here. So basically I have given the manual code how to print it. Let me comment it out. And there is a original code, means how which exception occurred and all such things if you want to detect. So you can use exception E and then E dot print extract trace. So it will bring all the codes from the memory which occurred during execution of and when exceptions occurred. So this part, it printed e dot print stack trace. So it is saying that null pointer exception occurred, and then it is printing end of the program as well. You can see here. So this is normal execution. If normal execution will not occur, this will not never execute. So that's why we are putting something in the try catch. So in the try, you put the risk 1, which is can cause the exception, and then catch block is to handle the exception. And after completion of the catch block, your program will normally execute the next line of code. So that's the beauty of exception handling. First detect the exception, then handle the exception. This is another example. You see here what I am doing here. String str is equal to null. I have set it to null, and I was just trying to print this. You can see here, let me comment this part. If I don't handle it and I have a line of code end of the program, yes, I am not putting any try catch, I commented it out, and I have a line of code end of the program. So you can see here, since it is pointing to the null, so whenever it is pointed to the null, nothing will be executed. It will throw null pointer exception. You can see here, I'm getting null pointer exception, and after line number 13, nothing executed. So line number 28 didn't execute. You see here. So to come out of these things problems, we have a try catch, and how to implement try catch, let me show you that part. What you have to do here, you just select this line of code where the risk is there, which is causing the exception, and just right click here. Once you right click here, you will see here surround with option is there. We go there in the Eclipse, and you will see try catch. So just click on try catch. So your most of the things will be automatically done. It's no need. So what I am trying to do, I am putting it into the try and catch. So try is to detect the exception, and catch is to handle the exception. So it will automatically insert this line of codes. If something exception will be occurred, so it will be handled, and this line of code will be executed. So if this is executed, means your program successfully completed without any abnormal termination. So let me delete this part. And there is one more code, you can use it. Let me as of now comment it, later and I will show you how to use it. This part I'm removing. Let me execute this. You can see here I'm getting null pointer exception. Line number 10 I'm getting null pointer exception, and after that this line of code is executed, end of the program. You can see here, so exception will be detected and it will be displayed like this. So if you use this one, e.get message, so as of now you see here it is coming into the red color. Show view console. The exception and all such things were coming to the red color, and some kind of something wrong happened like that, but your program was completed successfully. So you comment this part and you use this part. So it will almost display some kind of error, but in the black color. It's just a print message, right? System.out.println, it's a printing message. You can see here it's just null and end of the program, nothing coming in the red color. So this is the difference. You can use whichever you want to use, and you see everything is automatically created. I didn't do anything. It's just use of Eclipse feature I used, and then I am able to use it. So basically you are handling exceptions, you are detecting the exception, and then you are trying to handle the exception. So many exceptions examples I have, so don't worry, I will show you one by one. So this is array index exception. Array means some kind of array I will be handling, and I will try to access that. Can you see that this one is one array, and this is especially demo of array index out of bounds exception. Just remember this, array index out of bounds, means range which you have given, that is incorrect. So what I did here in line number 8, I created one array that you already know how to create it. So integer array of size 5 I created and index was 0 to 4. So that also I did here. Up to here I did nothing error, no issue, right? But here I am doing something wrong. Can you see this? I am trying to print 1. So it will be printed. 2 it will be printed. 3 it will be printed. 4 it will be printed, but 5 is not there, right? So when you try to access index 5, so index 5 is not there. This is index, not the size. So index 5 is not there. So I put it in the try batch, try block. Okay. So this line will create issue, line number 21, and here in the catch I am putting what? The particular exception. You can use exception as well by default feature, but if you have the specific exception name, so you can put the particular exception name as well. So in the previous example we were using exception, so you know either you can use exception or the child of that. Even throwable also you can use, it's up to you. So either you can use throwable, exception, or child of that, any exception things you can use. And you want to know, like again I try to recollect the parent child relationship, so let me show you that part. So now it is coming here, you can see. So mainly object class is there, then throwable, then exception, and when you go to the exception one, it will show you lot of child classes, a lot. So just have a look that these are the exceptions classes you can use, and some of the name you have already familiar with, just SQL exceptions, timeout exceptions. So these things you will come to know. Null pointer exceptions, that will the part of runtime exception. PQR. Expand it, then you will see a lot of exceptions. So most of the exceptions are the part of runtime. So these are like unchecked exceptions, and other exceptions are coming, so those are checked exceptions. So what it is showing, so this is the error code, line number 21. I am deliberately using it to show you that exception will occur. And what are the exception name? Array index out of bounds exception. Okay, and E is just a local variable, like earlier we were using exception E, so some reference we are creating. So whatever the exception will occur, it will just catch and store it into E. So based on that, E I was using E dot get message. So a lot of things are there. You can see E dot get control space. So E dot get message, E dot get cows, E dot get extract trace. So a lot of informations are there. You can use anything, but mostly we are using either E dot print extract trace or E dot get message we are using. So anything up to you how to use it.
Raji, I have one question.
Yes.
So how do we know that where we will use this try catch block for exceptions? So how do we get to know?
First you try to execute your program. If exception is coming, so there are chances of exceptions, right? So you have written something code, then you apply try catch. So this is for unchecked, but if it is a checked one, so in checked one the compiler will ask you, force you to use the exceptions handling. So try catch is basically a way of exception handling. Just remember this. Okay.
Yes, I mean that I got. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So up to here it is clear to you. If it is a try, then it will be having a catch one. A minimum catch block will be there, and you can handle those things here. And we have a finally block. So finally block is basically a part of try catch can say or try. Basically it is dependent on that. And finally is a block which is compulsory block. Compulsory means whether the exception is occurred or whether doesn't occur. In both of the cases, finally block will always execute. Okay, if your program is coming from top to bottom, so it can be chances that some exceptions can occur or cannot occur. In the both of the cases, finally block will execute. So question will be asked that what is the finally block, what is the importance of that, and what line of code you will put. So you can say that I have opened some database connection, and due to some abnormal termination my program is terminated. I opened some kept open some files. So due to any issue like my system got crash or like whatever it is, due to some issue my program is terminated. So I want that original settings to be restored. So in the finally block I will write those line of codes which will close all the things which I have and release all the resources which I have occupied during executions. So normally those kind of things you can put. So you can tell this answer in the interview because this is something important, and this is not mandatory. So finally is not mandatory, but the combination says that you can have try and catch. So you can have one catch, you can have multiple catch. So that is one rule. You can have try without catch and finally as well. So if you don't want to put catch, so you can ignore that, but you have try then finally is mandatory. A third combination is try, catch, finally. So finally is not dependent on anything, it's just a part of try catch, but it is saying that mandatory block means if you have put catch, put finally, it will always execute. And in the some interviews they will ask you in which condition finally will not execute. So you can say that there are two conditions. One is system crash. If any time say that in the try system got crash, so it will not call the finally block. And second condition is system.exit. So there is a line of code which is called if you write like that, any integer value it is asking, if you write like that, it means it will never go to the catch, it will never go to the finally, it will just terminate from there without any error and all such things. It's just a termination of program. So it is clear to you, system.exit. So I will show you the part of that. If I put this after line number 2, just see this. I am running this, nothing will happen to here, no error, nothing like that. At the line number 19, it will found and it will just terminate your program. You can see here it printed this and this 1 and 2. After that it found system.exit, so it just came out of this anything. So let me comment this part because this is something dangerous. Finally also didn't execute. I will show you. Right click, run as Java application. You can see here this executed, this executed, this executed, this executed, but this is throwing some kind of exception. So exception was index 5 you have passed, so this is the exception. And then it is saying that catch block executed. It came here and it executed the catch block, and you see here I'm just put a dummy code like finally. If you are executing finally, so it should show something. So it's a finally block executed, understand? And then your normal end of the program. And just take one example, consider that you want to see that whether catch will execute or not or finally will execute or not. So if I remove the exception part, means I have commenting it. So I'm printing 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is valid. So no issue. Let me print this part as well, 0. So all the valid indexes I have passed here. And you see here, this is a valid one. So no exception will occur. So it will not execute the catch one. but the finally will execute. You can see here catch executed and then finally executed, then end of the program. So basic difference is that finally is a compulsory block. So this is one concept, you should have it. Second concept is that, let me reactivate this part. So if I execute this, you know that exception is occurring, and when exception is occurred, so it is coming to the catch part and then finally is executed, and then your normal program is completed. End of the program also you are getting. So what I am doing here, I am removing the catch, which is not mandatory if you have a finally, but you cannot have only try. So try with catch or with finally is mandatory rule. You see here what is there, I am removing it, is means just commenting part. So I am not getting any compilation error. So what will happen, this will have a error code line number 23, it will throw the error, but there is no catch, right? So what will happen, it will look for the abnormal termination, but since Java rule says that before abnormal termination finally will execute, so finally will execute. After that this program will not execute this line of 36, it will just terminate from here. So you just feel the difference if you use catch or without catch. So what will happen, if you not use catch, exception will not be handled. Okay, so it is just a detection of exception but not handling of the exception. So let me show you this part and watch it carefully, and you have any doubt you can ask me. So let me run this program. Just this is the demo that I have a catch, I removed it, and I am seeing that finally executing, but after that my program got terminated. After line number 33 nothing will be executed. If you have 100 line of code, all goes fail. You can see here it is saying that finally block executed. Okay, and then it is not executing this part. So that's the importance of catch block. If I have a catch, I handled it. If I am running it, so exceptions will be handled and then this will be executed, end of the program. So this is something very important concept, and in the interview you have to tell this concept, the importance of catch block, the importance of finally block, and the importance of try block. So try, catch, finally in design in such a way, you just have to know that whether catch is optional if finally is there, and if try catch is there then finally is optional, as nothing is mandatory. So mandatory is try, either try with catch or try with finally. So this is mandatory rule. So this is basic example of that. Let me show you more examples, then you will understand. It's concept wise you have to be very clear in the Java. That's the importance of this demo what I am showing you. So I was just showing you all these exceptions are not handled, declared in the program, will get compilation error. Checked exceptions, compilation error with there. Compiler will not detect. So some examples, SQL, IO, class not found exception, for example, arithmetic, null pointer, array index, out of bounds exception. So these are the unchecked, and this is very important. Means when you are talking about checked and checked, so first you tell the concept and then you give the example. If you don't give the example, it means your answer is incomplete. So checked and unchecked is very important interview question, and with the name of 3 exceptions of each. Just remember this. Okay. So exceptions handling keywords. So some of them we have already introduced. Try you know, catch you know, finally you know. Throw and throws, just you are knowing about throws. Okay, how it is coming to the case of checked exceptions. But throw, as of now we don't know. So I will introduce everything, but let's see other examples. This question should be there, where? It should be in the string. Move. Checked exceptions demo. You just remember this. What I'm trying to do here, I have a line of code, file. Okay, so this is a class in Java which is used for file handling, and it is present in java.input output. You can see here IO. So we have a class file and it has couple of methods. So you can see here file, these are constructors, can execute, can read. So these are the permissions check, delete, exist. So you can check whether file is exist or not. So those kind of things. Is absolute, it's a path, total space, get path, get parent. So a lot of other. This file command is used for folder and file both. mkdir and mkdirs. You can see here. So this is for creation of file and folders. Okay. Delete is there, create new file is there, compare is there. With lot of informations you can see. So this is demo of file handling. So that's why it is coming to the picture. What I am doing here, file, this object I am creating, then new, and then passing the name of the file. So ideally it will look for the file in the current location. That's where it is going to execute. So this is expecting that current project location is this one. So this is arithmetic weekends, automation weekends. So this is the current location where it will try to look for the file, and this is for reading it. Okay, so you just give the name of the file and then pass this object here. So it is showing that when you're trying to create new object, it is showing some compilation error, and just mouse over, you see here it is asking you two ways, either throws or surround with try catch. So if you click second option, it will be like this, which you already know now. Okay, so this is the error code which can throw some kind of exception, and I am trying to handle it via try catch. So this is one way. Let me undo. So again I'm getting the first option, I'm going add throws declaration. So you see here it is showing file not found exception, and which is prefixed as a throws keyword. So throws keyword will come into the picture for declaring the checked exception. So this is the checked exceptions in the Java, file not found. If I go to this class, which packet is present, java.input output. So all the input output and couple of names you can see in the left section. File is there, file not found exception is there, file output stream is there, file input stream is there. So these are like file handlings things which you will be using in file handling, but very rarely used. So people are lessly using it. So you can see here what I have done here, and you see this file is not present. So when I'm trying to read the file, I will get some kind of exception. So let me run this. So first example is checked exception, and if I run this program, it is for sure this issue will come because this file is not present. It is showing that exception in thread main, file not found exception. To handle it, either you put in try catch or you use throws declaration. Throws declaration will just throw it from here, and the original file, original class which is showing this exception will be called to handle it. And if you want, you can use it with a try catch. Right click, surround with try catch. This is one way, and second way is create this file. Where? Here. Right click, show in System Explorer. So this is the location. I just create a new txt file. It is a blank file, then should be okay, no problem. I'm just putting some text, random text. You can see here test.exe. Now I have found the file. Even I don't have this code. If I run this, you can see I am not getting any error. So view console, I'm not getting any error. And to verify that way I'm not getting any error, I will have one more line of code. That's out. If any exception will come, then it will handle. If this will not cause any exception, then only it will execute it. If it caught execution, it will terminate from there. You can see at the end of the program it is printing, and when I go there again, I remove this file. See here, somewhere I put in a different location. If I come here and re-execute this file, you can see I will get some exception. This file is not present, right? File not found. This system cannot find in the specified path because the path I have not provided, right? So you can provide the path and then you can also play with the system. So this file is not present, that's why I'm getting this compilation, runtime exception, and the exception is file not found exception. So this is the exception it is throwing. But again I'm going here, this is the location of the file I'm putting here. If you don't give any path, it will look in the project location. So this is your project location, and there it will try to look that. So it is clear to you, right? So this is just a concept thing, you should know this. If I run this and just Java application UKM, end of the program, you can see. So based on the file, it will find the. You can also write like that, dot slash. So it means dot means current project under this. You can see it is executing correctly. Just a way, dot means current project and slash means under this project there is a test.txt file. So that's the thing. Now we have other example. What is this about? Okay, this is something other topic I will discuss. This is related to polymorphism of method overriding concept. So I will show you that part later. Concat test. This is about string class. So move to refactor. String to exception example. You can see here same thing here, right? So what it is happening here, you can see this is the example here. I'm having file input string. I'm trying to read the file, right? This is the main method. Okay, in the main method, I'm creating this class object, and we have couple of methods. So method name is test method 1. Only one method is there. So what I'm doing here in the main method, I'm creating the object of the class and then calling this method, and this method will look for this file. So this file is already there, and this is reading file operation. File input stream, input means read from the file. So as of now I'm setting to the null. In the try, I'm just passing that object what I have created here, and this will read it. Once it will read it and any exception will occur, then it will handle it as. So after reading, you can print it on the console. That is a different code, just a way of like just exposing it, that this is a read operation I'm trying to perform. And you will ask now what you will put in the finally block. So you can see here in the try catch, I did something. No, not try catch, I just opened some file kind of things, right? So those operations I need to reshape. So this is file input stream dot close. I am saying that close the file if it is open. So like this kind of code they have kept. So this is just an example to understand you. Right click, run as Java application. So I'm not printing anything, so it will not print anything. Just let me put one line of code. End of the program. Right click, Java application. You can see here this is printed. It means program is not having any error, any issue. It's successfully executed. So more examples. This is final demo. Final demo, we have not created anything. So no need to have this file. This is a blank file. So let me remove this. What is CFG? This is factorial program. Move to flag exercise. Invalid age exceptions. So this is something custom exceptions. It will be discussed later. You can see here. This is something divide by 0 error. I am going to show you that this is the data. I am trying to divide 100 by 0. So normally it is not allowed. So it will throw you some exception, and that exception is arithmetic exception. So you will handle this exception, then you have a finally block, and then you will print it. So we have another example. Let me comment this part one by one. I will show you. This part we have already gone through. Again it is coming, so I am just explaining. That's just a way of writing. Instead of E, there they have created obj. It's your choice how you want, no problem. And then nothing important, try catch finally. This is the thing only. You see here, this part will not be printed. Why? Because the exception will occur here and it will come out of here, and then it will be handled by the catch. So you can see here, catch block executed, finally block executed, dot 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 dot, and then end of the program, successfully completed. Second example is that, let me comment this part. The string is ABC. I am saying that integer dot parseInt s. So s is not having integer. So compile time there is no issue. You can see here there is no issue of compile time. But this will called parsing exception. Yesterday you already seen this example. And I am printing try block successfully executed. So this will never execute this line of code because some exception will occur. It will come here, and that exception name is non-number format exception. So this I am creating local variable num.print extract trace. Then I will execute catch block executed. Then finally is there. Then end of the program. So just a demo of parsing exception. So you can see here I'm getting, but end of the program is printed. It means program executed successfully. Everything is executed. Try block executed, catch block executed, but you can see this line didn't print try block executed successfully because it didn't execute successfully, right? Catch block executed, finally block executed, end of the program. End of the program is coming from here. Correct? So anyone has any doubt, they can ask. And we have null pointer exception, which you have already seen, but let me show you again with one more example. You can see here I have created this class object here, obj1, and then I am trying to access here. So it has a hash code method. Every class object has a hash code method. I'm calling that. So just a normal Java program, just created the object and trying to access the hash code. So since it is obj1, it is a null one. Means I'm not initializing it. So when object is not initialized, it is automatically pointing to the null in Java. You should know this, right? So how you will know? Is out. If you try to print obj1, what is the value it is stored? It will show you. This is also not needed because we have already created obj here. So let me run this perfect example of null pointer exception. You can see here what it is printing, null. So it is a null value, and then I am trying to access null dot hash code. So it will show you null pointer exception. So this is example here. You can see. Now we have other example. This was the example of null pointer. So let me comment. Coming to this example, just for me. Start of the program should be okay. Then try, catch, and exception. So normally we were using throws keyword, but here I am using thread.slip. So thread.slip is a kind of interrupt. If any exception will occur, it will handle here. If it is not there, then I will handling it here. Then after that also it is not there, then finally we'll look into that. So here what it will happen here, you can see I have one try, but it can have multiple catch. And the order of those catch is a question of interview, then in which order you will keep it. If you have a multiple one, so you will say that if two exceptions are parent child or grandchild, whatever it is, the parent or grandparent, whatever it is, it should be at the bottom place, and the child should be, or grandchild should be at the first place. If there is a relation, a parent-child relation, and there could be different scenario that there is no relation between two exceptions. So there is no rule for that order. If there is a parent-child relationship, then rule says that parent or grandparent should be at the bottom, child should be at the first position. So you can see here exceptions is the parent of every exception, so it should be at the bottom, and this is a child of that, or child or subchild, so that's why it is kept as the first one. So this is mandatory rule, and if you put this one first, then see what will happen. I'm getting an error. Why it is the error saying? It's saying the unreachable code, means this will always handle the things. If something will wrong, this will never be reached. So that is called unreachable code. So not allowed in Java. So you have to find something, two exceptions which are not related to each other. Then you can put in any order. Like I can have arithmetic exception and array index out of bounds exception. I will copy this, catch. You can see here, I'm putting it into order. Suppose that I put this in the first position. Then also I'm not getting any compilation error. So between this and this, there is no relationship. There is no parent-child relationship. So if this is the case, then you can put in any order. But if this is a parent-child relationship, means this is the super parent of like any exception. So you have to keep it like that. And you know there is a throwable as well. So you are using throwable, then you have to put like this. So if I put throwable at the first
So
position,
Raju, I have one question regarding this parent and child relation of this. So I think this is we are tracking from the sheet you have showed where all the exceptions are, right?
yeah.
Okay. So we are referring that as a parent and child and
No, we
grandparent
have
relation.
also we have also opened that parent-child type hierarchy also I have shown. You see here when I
Yeah.
put the throwable, it is showing that these are unreachable. Means you cannot put it like that. So this is something relationship. So if you have a relationship, then it should be at the bottom. So grandparent or parent, whatever it is, it should be at the bottom. So the sequence has to be followed, and the case of multiple catch one. So this is the mandatory rule you have to know. Okay. So how you will come that which one is the parent and which one is the child? So you go and like just open this, right click, open type hierarchy. So this is something very important for you. Which one I opened? Let me go through exception, right click, type hierarchy. You can see this is something coming, then you just explore which one is parent and which one is child. So this is something which is having some childs.
Okay.
Let me go to runtime exception. Okay, so this is all the exceptions. You can place in any order. So runtime exceptions you can place at the top, and then unchecked is the like at the first one, then checked one will come this place. Then this order can be put. Normally people are using here up to here. Exceptions is okay. Throwable I have never seen people are using. It's just a demo purpose. I have kept the order. So if there are multiple catches, it's allowed. First thing is that it's allowed, and there is a rule that you have to know. The rule says that if there is a parent-child relationship, so parent will be at the bottom, child will be at the first position. And if there is no relationship, then no order need to be followed. You can put in any order. It's up to you. Understand? So this is okay for today. Means whatever the examples we have seen for today, that's okay. And let's meet up next week. Then I will show you more examples on the exception. Anyone has any doubt which need to be discussed, they can discuss now.
I already asked the questions, whatever I had.
Anyone else wants to ask anything? Don't hesitate. Don't think that what others will think. Just ask your question, no problem. You can gather the questions from some other internet sources. A lot of things are there. Just go and check what questions can be generated based on the exceptions handling, what questions on the wrapper classes. So you need to collect the questions and then you can discuss it. Means you can ask other guys as well. It's not like that you have to ask me. You can put it like a discussion. That should be okay. Yes. Make it more interactive. That's what I mean to say.
Okay, right.
Okay. If no questions, then bye for this. Happy weekend. That's it.
Yeah, thanks, Rajiv. Happy weekend.
Welcome.